Yes, it's another time to talk sports business on this channel. Great to be back once again, and it's always lovely to talk sports business with you, and welcome to the world of sports business. Judy Olano is my name, and today we have some great news coming from the continent of Africa. Africa is doing well. Most of the countries in Africa just trying to play catch up as we really take what is in sports business for the continent. So we will also be talking about something that will be happening later in the year. We'll be talking about the Africa Football Business Summit on the show today, and the founder of the Football Foundation for Africa will be joining me. They are putting together the African Football Business Summit, which will be holding sometime in Kigali, and we will be we're looking forward to that and some other stories. But while we wait for our guest on the show, we'll take the break and we will take you through some of the things happening as far as sports business is concerned, and we'll be back. Don't go away.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back straight to the news. We start from something novel happening, like I told you, on the continent of Africa. NBA Africa and KFC Africa have announced a marketing partnership that will see NBA Africa and KFC Africa collaborate on a number of promotions and activations for basketball fans across 8 countries on the continent. Botswana, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Namibia, Nigeria, Senegal, and Tanzania are the countries that this partnership will be tested. Through the partnership, KFC Africa and NBA Africa will launch co-branded product campaigns, merchandise, limited edition merchandise giveaways, and limited edition KFC and NBA promotions, including the opportunity for basketball fans to win tickets to live NBA games in the US and complimentary access to NBA League Pass. The league's premium live game subscription service also additional goodies to be part of this partnership. Additional details about the promotion will also be announced later on. Okay, all right. Still moving on. The Basketball Africa League and Entrepreneurial Solutions Partners has announced the partnership that makes ESP an official partner of the BAL and the league's country partner in Rwanda. ESP is an organization investing in entrepreneurs and working towards sustainable transformation through the deployment of scalable and innovative solutions. The announcement was made by BAL President Amadou Gallo Fall and ESP CEO Eric Kaku at a launch event in Kigali Arena in conjunction with the 2022 BAL playoffs and finals, which tip off on Saturday and will culminate with the second BAL finals on Saturday, May 29th. Through the partnership, the BAL and ESP will provide youth and entrepreneurs in Rwanda with learning and development opportunities, basketball training, and life skills session. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, financial statement for 2021 shows that the organization saw its revenue in the 2017 to 2020-2021 cycle increase to 7.6 billion US dollars up from 5.7 billion US dollars in the previous Olympiad. For 2021, the IOC said it recognized 4.2 billion US dollars in total revenue, courtesy of the rescheduled Tokyo 2020 Games. Total assets as at 31st of December 2021 were 5.6 billion US dollars compared to 5.7 billion US dollars in 2022. Cash and cash equivalents of current assets were 548.9 million US dollars, down from 866.6 million US dollars at the end of 2020. The IOC's The Olympic Partner Worldwide Sponsorship Program brought in 835.6 million US dollars in revenue for 2021. Television broadcasting rights pool in 3.1 billion US dollars. Massive. All right. English soccer clubs could soon face a ban on shared sponsorship deals with betting brands after a proposal to outlaw such agreements was included in a UK government draft white paper, according to the BBC. The Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sports confirmed it will be releasing the policy documents in the coming weeks, setting out the proposals for future legislation on what it says will make UK gambling laws fit for the digital age. At this stage, nothing is confirmed and the legislation will still have to secure passage through Parliament. According to the BBC, the new legislation could kick in as early as the 2023-2024 season, allowing time for clubs to start negotiating new deals for when it comes into effect. All right, lastly, before we go, U.S. private equity firm Redbird Capital Partners is closing in on a 1.3 billion euros takeover of Italian soccer champions AC Milan, according to Italian media. The Italian financial outlet reports that the takeover fee could potentially rise to as much as 1.8 billion euros over the next few years. Redbird made a late move to join the takeover race for the newly crowned Serie A winners on the 5th of May after Invesco reported 1 billion euros initial bid had appeared to put the Bahraini investment manager firmly in pole position. Money is the name of the game. That's it. Okay, we're going to a short break, and up next is the dugout segment, and my guest is standing by.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back. Of course, if you've been part of the news, you will know that Africa is not left out. Africa is moving on, and business-wise, Africa is tending to be counted. And now we will talk about something that will be happening still on the continent of Africa. Man, the destination of choice right now for the global destination for sports is becoming somewhere in Rwanda, and that's Kigali, and that's where something will be taking place later. That's September, to be precise, and the world will be focusing on Kigali in September, and that will be the first where the first African Football Business Summit will hold. And to discuss that with me, joining me from Nairobi, Kenya, is Brian Wesala. Brian, by the way, is the founder of the Football Foundation for Africa. Brian, it's a pleasure to have you on the Sports Business Show. Thanks for honoring our invitation. All right, Brian.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Jide. It's a pleasure for me to be here on TV 360 to speak about the Africa Football Business Summit and other topics regarding to the business of sports.
All right. Brian, the African Football Summit, Business Summit, I know there are a lot of work that has gone into it from the series that the Football Foundation has on digital media. I know that that is one of the reasons we are going to be converging on Kigali in September. Take us through the process before September became the date?
So yeah, it's been quite a journey so far. As you rightly put it out, it started this in July 2020. We have been organizing the Africa Football Business Show, which is our online educational program, just trying to educate industry stakeholders really about the business side of football, of sports of the continent. Because from where we stand, we feel that this is an area where we haven't developed as such, despite the talent we have on the continent, which we are usually praised for. Even just watching the beginning of our program today, you realize there's very little coming out of Africa in terms of sports business, in terms of economic results or economic moves coming out of Africa, maybe apart from NBA Africa and what they have just announced with KFC Africa. Again, these are two global brands, not necessarily African, that are investing in the African market. So we started this conversation with a view of seeing how can we build an ecosystem around football specifically, which is what I'm passionate about, and also the key focus of the Football Foundation for Africa. So over the last 1.5 years or slightly more, we've been having this conversation, and it's what gave birth to this idea of having the Africa Football Business Summit. Of course, looking at the post-COVID period, fingers crossed we are past the COVID pandemic, we felt there is a need to create a Pan-African platform to discuss the business of football on the continent, but of course very much open to the international sports community to lend their support, to lend their expertise and knowledge, but to keep the agenda very African and to see how can we develop the business of football in Africa.
All right. Of course, gradually, I know that Africa still have some challenges growing the sports of football because, for example, there are still some countries who still see football as just recreation and they just want to play football. But what are the things that this particular summit will be doing to change the paradigm as how some of the players on the continent look at football going forward?
With this summit, the plan really is to spark these conversation around the business side of football, and we are saying we want to set up an African agenda for the business of football. As you rightly point out, most of the continent is yet to appreciate the potential for sport, for football, for economic and social development. So these are the things we hope to spark. And with our theme, which means transforming our game, idea is borrowed from the business sector. Really, when we talk about transformation, what does this involve? We need to take our industry from one point to another, from point A to point B, economically, socially, and otherwise. So with the summit, the aim really is to start to look at what really are the challenges that are facing the African football ecosystem, and what solutions are out there, or what solutions can we come up with to address these challenges. So as you said, for example, in most of the continent, football is still very much a leisure activity, and there's very little when it comes to government investment, even private sector investment, because clearly as the people within the industry, we have not taken time to understand our own value and to see how we can now sell that to the different stakeholders, primarily our governments and the private sector. So through some of the topics that we are going to address around, we have 4 themes, that being the business of football, grassroots football development, events and infrastructure, and leadership and governance. So through these themes, we hope we are going to address the key challenges facing the continent. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And how can we move the industry forward? So from that leisurely perspective to really an economic juggernaut that the football industry has potential for. So we are really trying to curate our program to make sure that we address specific issues within the African football context that we can now go forward and address them. And one thing we want to also make sure is that we make our program very agenda driven, so that after we have post-summit action that different stakeholders can take to start building on the solutions that or ideas that will have come out of the summit. So we expect to engage government, both at national and supranational level, the private sector, the international development agencies, local development agency as well. So we are trying to create an open multi-stakeholder platform and really ignite collaborations projects across the continent to see how we can move the industry forward.
Okay. I've seen the lineup of guests that will be speaking at that particular event. What actually informed the array of guests or guest speakers that will be speaking? What actually was coming on in your mind, and those who are putting this together to have those kind of guests?
So first of all, we had to come up with a very solid program, and then from our network, from the team's network, see who are best to address these key issues. And we are trying to focus on professionals, academics who have been working behind the scenes and really bring their work to the fore. Because you realize with the industry, usually what we appreciate is the result. You know, when you have a good football match, or you have a good football event like we had earlier this year in Cameroon, and the World Cup coming up. But really want to look at the people behind the scene who make these things what they are. And that really informed our choice of speakers. At the same time, we're looking to inspire another generation that is coming up. You know, in Africa, we don't have enough young professionals working within the sports industry. So can we bring speakers who will be able to inspire the next generation of leaders in this industry? Because traditionally, we are not exposed to these people, and that is what we want to change with the Africa Football Business Summit. We have people like yourself who are doing a tremendous job within the media space. We have people working in marketing. We have people working on governance and other subjects, but they rarely get a platform where they can really expose themselves and inspire others. So that is what really drives our choice of speakers outside of their expertise and experience in the industry.
All right. From that, also, I don't. But before we ask the other question, this is also similar. The idea of Rwanda, everyone wants to, take events to Rwanda these days. When you talk about tourism, especially sports tourism, everyone is looking at the direction of Kigali. Is that the reason you chose Kigali as the point?
Yes, Jide, I think that's the reason I chose Kigali, because of what they're trying to do with their sports there. You see, they have realized the potential for sports. They're looking at sports tourism as a way of earning the country revenue. And they have combined that very well. They're also pushing to develop their MICE industry, so the meetings and conventions industry. So they are becoming a destination of choice for conferences and summits like what we have. Coupled with that, Rwanda has a very concrete sport development policy, 2020 to 2030, that they are working to implement. So you see these intentional steps that the country has taken that have the buy-in or the support right from the top, right from the presidency, are what makes Rwanda an attractive destination for this summit. So when I was thinking about a venue, Kigali was almost like an obvious choice. Of course, myself and the organization domiciled just next door in Nairobi, it also makes it an obvious choice. Otherwise, also we look forward, or rather, my vision is that other African countries can copy, for example, what Rwanda is doing going forward. I'm sure whatever they are doing can be replicated across the continent, and we can have other centers sprouting and become a future host of the Africa Football Business Summit and similar events that I envision will grow more and more as Africa develops its sports ecosystem.
All right, let's move a bit from there away, and let me put it to you now. There's this question: as an African, isn't it worrying now that the infrastructure, it's very scarce, especially for football now? Because if you look at the World Cup qualifiers, the Nations Cup, you see countries sourcing for playgrounds. Some of them don't have quality playgrounds. Is this also going to be part of what we'll be looking at, especially letting those who have the hairs, those who are in charge, know that we need to sit up and invest in infrastructure so that we won't go looking for a playing ground for a national team. You can imagine a West African country having their games taken to North Africa. That's one of the things I feel. What do you think about this?
I mean, that's a challenge that has come up recently. I think CAF is trying to push for governments or countries to have better infrastructure at world standard. And yes, it is one of the topics that one of the things that we are going to discuss at the summit. That's under events and infrastructure. And outside of just developing this world-class infrastructure that is needed on the continent, I think there is also a need for us to think about sustainability of this infrastructure, and at what level do we need to have this good infrastructure. For example, you look across Africa, it's not just about where the national team is supposed to play, but look at where we grow our players at the grassroots level. Do we have the right infrastructure there? And in my view, that's where it should start, really. At the community level, we really need to improve the infrastructure there. And it's not about building massive structures, but just making sure our pitches at the grassroots level have good terrain, they are safe for our players. And these naturally will now translate to the kind of football that we want to see at the top level. Once it starts making sense, economic sense at the grassroots level, then we will attract the right investment into the ecosystem. At the moment, there's a lot of international interest in the African sports ecosystem. But if you look closely, there is not that, if I can say, the foreign direct investment is not commensurate with the potential that the industry holds. So we need to have sustainability built into our system, making sure that the projects we put in place make economic sense, not just in the short term, but also in the long term. So definitely infrastructure is something that we need to focus on, but at the same time, we need to understand what kind of infrastructure do we need and what purpose will this serve the continent in the short term and in the long term. Well,
thank you very much, Brian, for talking to me on today's show. I really appreciate it, and hopefully, I want to wish you all the best as you and your team put together the African Football Business Summit that is coming up in September. All the best, and hopefully we'll see you at the summit.
Thank you very much, Jide, for hosting me today, and hope to see you in Kigali.
All right. All the best. All right. That was the founder, the Football Foundation for Africa, talking about the first Africa Football Business Summit, which will hold in Kigali, September from 2022, from September 14 to 15. Yeah, Kigali is the place to be. That's it for us on today's show. You can join us on our social media platform. Our touch points are there, Sport Exchange 24 on Facebook. Like it and begin to enjoy the best of content we drop there. On Twitter too, you can follow us on Twitter, Sport Exchange 24. Also, that is what the Twitter handle is. And for those who would like to enjoy all the Sport Exchange programs that we've had in the past also, you can join us or subscribe to our YouTube channel, TV360 Nigeria also. You subscribe and enjoy the best of content. Till I come your way next time, Judy Olano is my name. Yours truly today, to man of the future in sports. And I'm saying, have a wonderful week.